and gals and beautiful people out there. My name is Tamara, and we're here today to work on our foot and ankle mobility. Woo! Moving these guys and waking up all the little joints, all the different ligaments, tendons, muscles, all the parts of our feet that are super complex. Our feet are amazing works of engineering, of evolution, and they are meant to be very, very mobile. And why do we know that? Because there's so many parts in them. The feet have 26 bones. I think the hands have 27. Feet have 26 bones. And in our body, wherever a bone meets another bone, ooh, it's also feeling like fall here. By the way, it's a beautiful day in California. So wherever a bone meets a bone, there's a joint. And joints are meant to move. They are hinges. They are balls and sockets. They are places where we should have movement. That means that our feet having 26 bones, 26 bones just here, that means that our feet have an amazing capacity to mold, adapt, and move. Our feet are meant to sense the ground. They send all this information to the rest of our body about the terrain, about the incline, the texture, about all these different things about the ground that we're standing on. So our feet are like eyes. They are constantly looking and scanning the floor as we step. So that brings in a very important issue, and it is choosing the shoes we wear. So that our shoes should protect our feet, of course. We don't want to bump ourselves or cut ourselves walking barefoot. We want to protect the feet from that. But we also don't want to blindfold the feet. We don't want to completely put our foot in a dark box where it can't see and sense the floor. So it's very important that you choose shoes where you can still feel the floor. You can still feel the terrain, and your foot can move freely in the shoe. And also that your toes can spread. So a lot of shoes box our feet tight in like this, and then our feet become little stumps, and they lose their ability to really explore and give us all that information that we need to walk and keep our balance and to stay mobile for longevity. It's very important as we grow older to keep things moving. And there's no better moment to start than now. So it doesn't matter how old you are, mobility exercises are for you and for everyone. That said, some of these exercises might be uncomfortable depending on your level of mobility and also depending on any underlying conditions. So if you have plantar fasciitis or you've had injuries and scars in your feet or in your legs, then there will be some impediments in the range of motion. And I just invite you to work within those limits, if you want to call them limits, or just to work within that range. So each one of us is going to have a different range of motion. So I will demonstrate exercises and I'll share with you guys some really fun things. But ultimately, it's up to you to adjust to what is right for you. So please, please remember to always take it slow and have accurate self-assessment, because I'm not there with you to guide you right now. I'm just teaching this class to my phone. And to whoever is watching this now or afterwards. And by the way, if you are watching this at any time, I would love to hear from you. Please send me a message, say hello. I would really like to know that these classes are actually being enjoyed by you guys. So that's the best thing, the best gift you can give me is to say hi. All right, so for this class, we'll need a few things. First of all, we'll need an open space on the floor. So go ahead and push the furniture aside and open up some floor space. Roll out a yoga mat or a blanket, whatever is comfortable to be on the floor. Bring some cushions so that you can sit on the floor and be comfortable. We'll do some foot massage to start. We'll need a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball to do some myofascial release on the feet. We'll also need a broomstick or any stick that's straight. I just unscrewed this pole from my broom, so any broomstick works. And a yoga block or a brick, or a step. So you could modify this and do it on a step, like in a staircase at home or outside on any raised surface. So those three elements we'll need today. So go get your things, get a broomstick, get a ball, a yoga block. It could also be a thick book, but just make sure that it's stable and that you're not going to break it or you're not going to damage it, because I wouldn't want to be responsible for you destroying your chemistry book that's this thick, that's like heavy as a brick. All right, so let's get started. Seated on the floor. You can also be seated on a chair. You don't have to be on the floor for this. I'm going to be on the floor. I enjoy being seated on the floor. It's good for my hips. But if you'd like to be on a chair or your bed, please make yourself comfortable. We're going to start massaging our feet. So our feet, interestingly, for some people, they are a part of the body that are not very loved. But feet need a lot of love because they work very hard every day. And a foot massage is a wonderful gift that you can give others, but that you can also give yourself. So we're going to start with a little foot massage, and please prop yourself up so that you are comfortable reaching your foot. So I've crossed my ankle over my knee, and I use the block under the other knee to give myself a little bit of height. Remember, you can be on a chair, doesn't matter. So we're going to start holding the toes with your hand and bending up and down. Very simple. Just moving the toes up and down, and try not to sickle the ankle to get this to happen, but try to keep the foot in line with your shin. So very simple, back and forth. And just notice what that feels like. Notice if there is discomfort. Now we're going to take one toe at a time. So I'm starting with my big toe, and I'm bringing it up and then down. And I'm using the thumb here to bring it down. Thumb in the back, toes down. And do this for every toe. So I'm moving to the second toe, up and down, and I'm particularly interested in bringing it down. And I'm using my thumb to press in the ball of the foot. I'm going through every little toe, and I'm going to come a little bit closer so you can see it from this angle. So I'm using the thumb to bring the toes down. See how I'm pressing with the thumb and then bringing that toe down. Also open them up. Great. Now with both hands, so my fingers are on the top of the foot, and with my thumbs I'm going to massage the sole. And I'm basically just doing this with my thumbs. And this is just a suggestion. This is how it feels good for me. But you might find a different way to massage your feet that feels awesome. Do that. Do what feels awesome. So we're giving ourselves some foot love right here. And we all know that we like to give and receive love in a different way. So this is how I like to give myself some foot love, but you might have a different way that works for you. Go for it. There's no right and wrong here. If it feels good, you're doing it right. I like feeling for different spots that are maybe a little intense or sore, and exploring around there. So here I'm looking at this space between the ball of the big toe and the arch. This muscle here can get pretty tired. So I'm giving it a little extra rub right there. I sometimes teach this with oil. Today we're doing it dry. So it's just pressure. But if it feels good to rub and you want to put on some lotion, go for it. That works too. All right, my next favorite thing to do is interlace my fingers through the toes. And it doesn't work for everyone. Not everyone can spread their toes all the way to bring the fingers through. And this might be a good moment to try lotion if you need a little help to slide the fingers in. So here, look, I made a perfect lock where the toes are between the fingers. And with the other hand, I'm going to hold the ankle and make circles. And this feels really good. It gets all the nooks and crannies. It moves everything. And I'm really swirling around that foot and getting the full range of my ankle motion here. Go in both directions. And let's call it good. Good for this side. So let's go to the other foot. I'm gonna come to this side. All right. Next foot. So first, moving our toes up and down. Going gentle and testing it out. Testing it out. Try not to sickle the ankle, keeping the foot in line with your shin. And then each toe up and down, using the thumb to press it in. Up and down. Oh, I got a little pop there. Ooh, more pops. Come down to my pinky toe, so keep going until you've done each toe. And then with the fingers on the top of the foot and thumbs on the arch, kneading it out with your thumbs. And you might discover that it feels different on each foot. And there might be different spots that are interesting in each foot. So here I'm finding an interesting spot just in front of my heel, right in the center. When I press in there, there is an interesting sensation. So I don't want to call it pain. I want to call it an interesting and intense sensation. So I'm just exploring it with curiosity. And move in different directions around those points. So we're just mobilizing things. And we're also recognizing different spots, different places where there might be stagnancy. So with this type of massage, we're not only feeling all these different places in our feet, we're kind of waking up parts that might be stuck, that might be dormant, or that we're not aware of. So we're bringing light to those unexplored places. It's like you're putting on your headlight or your headlamp and you're going to explore a new trail in the night. So we're waking up our feet. We're turning the light so that part of the foot can see. Interesting, right? All right, now interlacing your fingers in your toes. And circles. And with the other hand, I'm squeezing the ankle. And really take it around. Really move it around as best as you can. Go in both directions. All right. One last swish around. And let's call it good. Nice. Good job, feet. Okay, let's come to standing and warm up our feet with our body weight. So we're going to do a little bit of jumping. I'm going to tilt this up a tiny bit to see better. All right, we might be a little bit too far. Great. Okay. So standing, take your feet about a little bit wider than hip width apart. And you can bring your hands to your hips. Bend your knees just a tiny bit. Lift the toes and bring them down. A few times, up and down, up and down. Lifting all your toes at the same time. And now come up onto your tippy toes. Let's count about 10 reps. Great. Bring the feet back down, and now just lift your big toe. Push the other toes down, and only lift the big toe. Interesting. Not so easy. And then bring down the big toe, lift the other toes. Wow, it's kind of hard. And super interesting too. Okay, let's try that again. Big toe up, the other toes down. And then switch, big toe down, other toes up, and switch. And keep switching. See if you can do 10 reps of switching. Big toe, other toes. But do it with control. So it's not about speed, it's about control. And sometimes I mess up. So it's really important to keep that visual. Interesting. Wow, okay. Take one foot back and press the top of the toes into the floor and stretch from the top of the toes all the way up the front of the leg, all the way up the front of the body. Reach the arms up. Big, big, big stretch. And release. Same foot. Now take your foot in circles so the toes go over and under. So you're flipping up and down the toes and making a big circle with the ankle. Count about 10 circles in each direction. And let's go to the other side. Top of the foot into the floor. Press the top of the toes into the floor and stretch out the body. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Reach the arms up. Release the arms. So I like doing these full body stretches because it's all connected. So even though we're working on the mobility of our feet, the mobility of our feet actually affect the rest of our body. Super important. And now 10 circles, 10 ankle circles in each direction. All right. Take the feet wide. Bend your knees, and we're going to come heels up and then toes up. Heels up, toes up. Rocking back and forth, but keeping your balance. Now, if any of these exercises are difficult for you to keep your balance, you can have a hand on a wall or a column like this. So we're rocking back and forth. Just don't lose your balance, don't tip over. Make sure that you have the support you need for these movements. All right, and now a little bit of jumping. So if jumping is not comfortable for your feet or your knees or any part of your or any joint, just do it as a step side to side. Okay, so this would be the low impact version. Otherwise, jumping and crossing the legs, alternating which foot goes in front. You can bring in some movement to the arms if you'd like. And we're counting about 15 reps. Or 15. Remember, you can go back to stepping. All right, 2 more to each side. I bet you felt that also in your calves. Good, because we're gonna work with our calves in a moment too. All right, let's grab the block, brick, book, go to the staircase, and this is what we'll do. So we have that block there. And bring the ball of your foot to the edge of the block. Step the other foot a little bit back, and you'll bend and extend the knee. That's the leg that is on the block. Bend and extend. Now for some of us, we might be able to take the knee quite far ahead. This depends on our ankle flexibility. For others, it might not look like much. And that's okay, because remember that we all have different ranges of motion, and we're all working with what we got. So don't force it, and also notice when you're bringing the knee forward, are you compensating by taking the knee in? So we don't want that. We want to keep the knee in track, in line with the foot. So I'm going to show it here forward. So what I'm talking about is keeping the knee in line with the ankle and the foot. So something that can happen as a compensation is that when you bring the knee forward, it buckles in. We don't want that. So keep it in line and only take it as far as you can, keeping that line. If it buckles in, then back up. That means you've passed your range of motion. All right. And now keep the legs straight, and you'll come onto the tippy toes of the back foot. So here I actually narrowed my stance a little bit, so I can push off with the other foot. And both feet are working here. So the foot that's on the block is getting that amazing stretch in the ankle and in the calf, and the back foot is working to push. And I'm using my toes, I'm using everything. So this back foot, look at the toes. The toes are spread, and I'm pushing through the toes as far as I can. And leaning my weight forward onto the leg that's on the block. Why not open your chest here? Make it a full body expression. Nothing is disconnected. Even though we're focusing on the feet and ankles, everything is participating. Great. Shake it out for a moment. Shake out those foots. My sister used to say that, foots. Instead of feet, she would say foots. Okay, let's go to the other side. So now, which one did I have? Yeah. So change sides. So whichever side you did, do the other one. Okay. So we're first bending and coming forward. Finding the range of your ankle and not letting that knee buckle in. Keeping it straight. Tracking in the same line. I'm counting about 10 reps here. Just notice that there might be some differences from one side to the other. Maybe this ankle is different. Just notice that. All right, and now keeping the legs straight, the front leg straight. I'm narrowing my stance just a tiny bit so I can push off with the back foot. Push. And let's make it into a full body movement. Opening the chest forward, rounding as you step back, opening forward. All right. And bringing it back to center, shake it out, shake out those feet, those foots. Okay, and we're gonna come down to the floor. Oh my gosh, we haven't done the ball yet, or the broomstick. Let's see, which one should we do first? Let's do the ball first. So grab your ball. And we're going to massage the sole of the foot. Now, this you can do freestanding. You can do it standing, holding onto the wall for extra balance. You can also sit down. You can be on a chair and working the foot. So you don't have to be freestanding. I'm going to do it freestanding, but you have those options to keep your balance. So what I'm looking for here, first let's go slow. So just very slow, exploring the terrain of your sole with the ball. And I like to do it freestanding because the other foot and ankle get to work too. They get to work on stabilizing. And if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, come low into a squat. So I'm taking my hips back and coming into a squat. And now I really feel my feet working, my ankles working, and also my butt and my thighs. So I'm really engaging my whole lower body here. Go to the other side. And again, start slow, really feeling it. Come into a squat if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more. It really works the legs. I'm feeling it a lot on the other side. All right, come up. So now the invitation, you can repeat the same again, or the invitation now is to have like brisk, fast movements. So you're really getting some deep and fast movement of your plantar fascia. And try to put enough weight where you can really feel it. And don't be shy about it. And remember, because doing this is a little bit harder to balance, you can hold on to the wall, a chair, a table, something stable. So you can really focus on that fast movement of the ball on the sole. Fast and strong. It's pretty good, feels awesome. Make sure you do both sides, both feet. All right, and there you go. So the ball is one of my favorite tools for many things, for myofascial release in all different parts of the body. If you've been following these Friday mobility classes, I usually use a ball, any tennis ball, lacrosse ball. There's some specific yoga balls that you can use. It's all good. It all works. It's just an amazing tool of self-care, of self-massage. Okay, now we're gonna go next to a little bit of a torture. So I've done this one before for foot and ankle mobility. We're gonna torture our calves a little bit. It's a little intense, but it's really good for us. So just go as deep as you're able to tolerate. And how do you know if you can tolerate it? The question is, can I take a deep breath? So if you cannot take a deep breath, you've gone too far. And there's a few different ways that we can do this. And I'm gonna tilt ourselves a little bit lower so we can really see what's going on here. So we're going to use the broomstick. So first we're going to sit. This is important. We're going to make our legs parallel to each other. So don't let the feet do this. We don't want that. Open the feet so that they are in line with your shins. Very important. And spread the toes. Try to see if you can open the toes as much so that the pinky foot, the pinky toe can also touch the floor. Once you've established that and the shins are parallel, check it out, make sure. Then we're going to bring the broomstick to the Achilles tendon. So right above the heel, and sit down. Now if this is uncomfortable with both legs at the same time, you can be seated on a chair or on the edge of your bed and do one leg at a time. So have one leg folded where you're sitting on and the other foot down on the ground. So one at a time. Okay. Now here for some of us, you might not be feeling a lot because there's that space right above the ankle. So the invitation now is to press with your hands. Press down into the stick. And now you're going to feel a nice, intense sensation in your Achilles tendon. And take a few breaths there. So we're going to slowly roll the stick up and press down. And we're going to continue little by little, inch by inch, until we get all the way to the back of the knees. And here I'm pressing down with my hands. I'm pressing down on the stick to increase the sensation. Roll it up, sit down, and press. Take a few breaths. It might already be getting super intense. A little bit more. Oh my goodness, it's getting intense. So if it's too intense, just back off a little bit. You can also bring the yoga block under your hips to give yourself a little bit of support so you don't sit down so deep. It's a good trick. And if that's not enough, you can bring your meditation cushion or something higher. So I'm just going to show you as an example, I can bring the meditation cushion under here. And here my body weight is not on the stick, so I'm just going to use my hands to press down on the calf muscles. And I can even roll a little bit here. And that can be really intense. So wherever you're at, go slow and practice accurate self-assessment. Ooh. You find a spot that's like, oh my God, it's super intense. See if you can breathe. And use the exhale to soften and allow. We're working through different knots in our calves that can be super, super intense. And sometimes this tightness in the calves is what's restricting the mobility of our Achilles tendon and therefore our ankle and its ability to flex deeply. So this release, deep release of the calves, helps your ankle mobility. So it's not a useless torture. It's a torture with purpose, but it's also a torture that will bring relief in the end. While it's happening, we have to take deep breaths and be very patient with it. So keep going up. Ooh, slowly easing your way into it. See if you can relax your shoulders, relax your face. Woo! Might be a little bit too intense for me, so I'm going to come a little bit higher on the yoga block so I don't have so much body weight on the stick. And then if I'm brave enough, I can push the stick down just a little bit and increase the sensation, the intensity. Okay, I might be coming to my last position. So look how far the stick is now behind my knees. It's pretty intense for me too. So just be patient. Think about something else. Think about, I don't know, tennis balls. Think about, I don't know, massaging your shoulders after this. Try not to think about the intensity so much, but soften around it. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with that. So, whew. Let's put those things to a side. Extend our legs. Shake them out. Circle the ankles, spread the toes. Go in both directions. And my favorite thing to do, squat. So let's come into a squat. So let's start with our feet parallel. And of course our knees also need to be parallel. Come into the squat. So the toes might turn out a little bit. Try to keep them in line. If you must turn your toes out because that is where your range of motion is, please do that. So if your toes are turning out, that means your knees have to turn out too. So this is also an option. If your heels are not touching the floor, the next thing you can do is roll your blanket or your towel and bring your heels to the high part. And then little by little, you'll start to have space for the heels to come down. But if the heels are not touching, we don't want that because then you're working, everything else is tense to get up there. So I want you to try to really feel the floor through the heels in your squat. So again, it can be feet forward, parallel, or open. And we're just gonna hang out here for a moment. Keep your spine straight but relaxed. And let your body weight come back towards the heels. So the foot is fully connected to the floor. Allow your pelvis to also relax and drop with gravity. And keep lifting the spine away. This is what it looks like sideways. I'm just hanging out here and I'm hugging in my knees to keep my balance. So this is an amazing posture, an amazing position that's very natural to us that we should do frequently. So whenever you have opportunities if you need to come low to do something close to the ground, do it in a squatting position. Do this on a regular basis as a functional movement. and your body will thank you in the long run and in the immediate future as well, because we're getting here a very natural position, a very natural tilt in our pelvis, and a very natural stretch in our legs. Okay, so now rock a little bit in your squat, so heels to toe, and use your fingertips on the floor in front of you. Now bring your knees all the way to the floor. Come up to kneeling. Keep the toes connected to the floor. Back to the squat. Forward and up. And maybe see if you can do it without hands. If this is already challenging enough, just stay there, working on that. If you want to take it further, come up to full standing, and then slowly, slowly, slowly come down, rock forward, kneel, back, heels, stand. No hands. See how many more we can do. Let's try to do 3 more. Awesome. Shake it out. Let's come back to squat, and this time let's all come into a wide squat. Knees out. Press the knees out with your elbows. Take a few deep breaths here. And you can bring your hands to the floor for support and shift side to side. If that's feeling good and you're ready for another challenge, try to do it without hands. Shifting from side to side. And if this is still fun and you want more fun, make a full circle, either with hands or without hands. Going all the way around. And now change direction. Come back to your squat. Extend the spine. Deep breath. And slowly come back to seated. Make a butterfly. Shake the legs out. Press your feet into each other and lift the hips. Keep pressing, pressing, pressing feet into each other. And bring it down. And a forward fold just because. Deep breath. And let yourself drop forward. Inhale to come up. Turn to one side. And extend the back leg. So just a pigeon to stretch out the front of the hips, front of the thighs. So keep it a tall pigeon, or you're really getting that stretch in the front of the legs. It's a little counter pose to all this squatting. You can press your hands into your knee and your ankle and open the chest. Extend that back leg, spread the toes, and press the top of the foot into the floor. Deep breath. And let's relax here for a moment. Make a pillow with your hands. And come up. Let's switch sides. The other leg back. Oops, let's move that to a side. So pigeon. Focusing on extending the front of the hip, the quads, spread the toes, and press the back or the top of the foot into the floor. Extend the spine, open chest. Big breath. And exhale, fold in. And come up. Shake it out. Do whatever you need to wrap it up in your own way. Thank you for following. This was foot and ankle mobility with Tamara Vodovos. We did some really good work today. If you followed the whole hour, give yourself a hug. This is awesome. And remember that if your goal is to improve the mobility in any part of your body, the most important thing is to move. So, if you're really interested in improving the mobility of your feet and ankles, the best thing you can do is walk barefoot. Of course, protect your feet, don't get cut. Wear shoes that allow your feet to move freely and that are soft enough so that they are fully mobile. Don't box your feet in the dark, in a dark, hard shoe. Just wear a very soft protection for your feet and go out and have fun. Feel the world, see the world through your feet. The rest of your body will thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Ciao, ciao.